Hi, my name's Strachan and I'm a writer and performer based in Aberdeen. I'm originally from small town fishing communities in the northeast. I grew up in those communities in the 90s and noughties, and being a young gay person at that time in kind of small town Scotland wasn't always easy. And even though I came out to some family members and some friends, I didn't really start to kind of express myself and be myself fully until years later. And Aberdeen's been a big part of that. After moving here to study English literature back in 2006, I realised even through studying literature, there's so many other perspectives on so many different issues and different things, and that there's so many different voices and different ways of seeing the world, and I could be part of that, and I had a valid point of view and a valid existence, and I had nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about after, I guess, internalizing a lot of the homophobia that I experienced, but also that I was part of, and it being the norm when I was younger. And obviously, a lot's changed over the last couple of decades, and it's become a lot easier to be gay and to be myself. But it's always a negotiation. It's always kind of, you've got to kind of reflect on how much you're still maybe holding something back, and how much of my personality is maybe a performative thing that I've got from hiding myself away when I was younger, or trying to hide myself away when I was younger. So I think that being part of kind of the academic community and being part of the creative community in the northeast and in Aberdeen has really helped me to find myself and find my own voice. I think it's quite interesting that Grampian Pride only really started 3-4 years ago in Aberdeen, even though there was calls for something like it for many years before. And I think that maybe a lot of people kind of felt like, well, what's the point of having Pride? There's no one's got any issues. There's no problem. I'm fine with gay people. I'm fine with trans people, but the reality is it's just not the case for a lot of people. And I think that the politics and kind of binary nature of arguments online have led to people going down a path of being quite reactionary, and quite actually things have kind of gone back a step in terms of society becoming more liberal and more open-minded. I think things have slightly gone back a step over the last few years, and I think that it's become increasingly important to be visible and to showcase that LGBTQ plus people are here, and we exist, and we are nothing to be threatened by, and we, we're just normal people trying to get on with our lives. So I think the Pride events really helped me feel fully comfortable in the city, because I never held hands with a romantic partner in public until after that point, because I felt like that fear about maybe being attacked and so on. So when I saw people walking down Union Street being themselves and being proud to be themselves, and seeing kind of allies, multicultural allies from kind of all backgrounds at the side, clapping and cheering and engaging, it really made me feel fully at home in Aberdeen. And I think it's so important that other people experience that, and that after the pandemic's fully over, we can go back to being able to run in-person Pride events like that. Another big part of, I think, what Aberdeen has to offer for LGBTQ plus people is actually its creative and spoken word scene. And I think if it wasn't for the spoken word scene in Aberdeen, I would probably be quite ignorant still of what it's like for transgender people in this city and in the world to exist, and the hardships and kind of confrontations that they unnecessarily face. And so I'm so glad that I've learned so much from people being brave enough to stand up on the stages here and be themselves and share their voice and share their story. And I've learned a lot from that, and I hope and would really encourage other people in the city to engage with the creative spoken word scene and to go along to spoken word nights where you can hear more about perspectives that aren't yours and kind of empathize and see something and learn something about that you maybe need to learn because I certainly did. In my own work, I guess I was maybe shying away a little bit about, or maybe didn't feel mature enough to look at my own sexuality and my own relationships in my work. And so I've kind of always done it through a filter of other characters, other perspectives. I've celebrated gay figures from the Northeast that I felt were overlooked, like Bill Gibb, through a project called the Bill Gibb Line. And now I feel really comfortable and kind of in a good place to be able to share work that deals with my own experiences in my own voice using Doric, and I kind of feel like I've come full circle with that to be able to have work that is kind of very northeast and very gay, and it's not apologising to anyone. I'm not going to change my Scots language for you. I'm not got to stop being gay for you. Here it is, and it's a valid perspective and it's a valid voice, and yeah, I'm really pleased that I've been supported by the city and the university and the community here to grow my confidence to be able to do that. So that's why I am really happy to kind of share my story and to be performing as part of the Pride events coming up with Aberdeen University. So thank you.